Well, hello there, you fine, foolish fucks. How are you doing today? I hope everything is doing well in your life. Um, Welcome to the Foolish Canuck podcast. I am Chris Timms, and it's September. It's September 9th. This is the third episode of the Foolish Canuck podcast, and I'm happy you guys are checking it out. Thanks for tuning in. I don't know if you tune in on the internet, but you know what I'm saying. Thanks for clicking. I've been getting a few questions. Let's get this out of the way right off the top. A couple of people have asked me why Foolish Canuck. I guess a few Americans don't know what Canuck is. It's a slang for Canadian. So I'm a Canadian and Canuck. You get it? And foolish, well, I'm a comedian. I'm a Canadian comedian, so I guess I'm a foolish Canuck. That's the idea. As well as Bradley Knoll, the singer from Sublime, huge inspiration on me growing up. He has the song Foolish Fool, and George Carlin, one of his first albums of his I listened to growing up was Occupation Fool. And he does a whole bit about when he fills out, tax forms or applications and it says occupation, he likes to write fool and you'll put a final E at the end of it to be a dick or whatever. So anyway, that's what that is. That's Foolish Canuck. I thought it was pretty self-explanatory, but apparently a few people had some questions. So I hopefully those answer them for you, and we can move on. That's how things go sometimes. I don't know what I'm talking about now. Life is crazy. I feel like I'm in a dream. Like nothing really feels all that real at the moment. I've been working like my day job every day since last week or last Wednesday, and I keep working until Thursday. Plus, I've been doing shows every night, so minimal sleep. Haven't been napping much. Just go, and I'm fucking gotta tell you, I'm pretty fucking tired doing this. So hopefully it doesn't suffer, and I can still make this somewhat entertaining for you fine folks. But yeah, man, life gets busy, and you just gotta fucking go for it, I had some great shows this weekend at Absolute Comedy. A lot of fun. I got to work with Gavin Stevens for the first time and Sam Feldman, both two fine gentlemen. They have podcasts. I don't remember what they're called, but if you look up Gavin Stevens and Sam Feldman on the YouTubes, I'm sure you'll find them. I highly recommend checking them out because they're very entertaining individuals. But yeah, the shows were good. I was emceeing. I got called in to fill in because someone couldn't make a couple of shows, and I had a good time. People laughed, and it was successful. I guess that's all you can really ask for in the comedy business, I had a couple weird situations that happened during the shows. Before the early show on Saturday, some guy came in. Hang on a second. I think my cat is... I don't know if you guys can hear it in the background. This is my male cat, Wolverine. He apparently wants to be part of this podcast. Hey, Wolverine! Wolverine, get over here. Come say hi. All right, now he's camera shy. See, or mic shy. Call him out. Try to get him out here to talk on the mic, but no. Oh, there he goes. Yes, he wants to bitch in the background. I might have to pause this and go and check on him there in a second, but we'll try to push forward. What was I talking about? Yeah, so the early show at Absolute Comedy on Saturday, I'm sitting in the green room, and some guy walks into the green room, and generally only comics hang out in the green room, right? But this big, muscular, must have been at least 6'2", 6'3". I think he was Lebanese. He could have also been Italian. Not entirely sure, but he was extremely bigger than me. Bit of an intimidating individual. Anyway, he walks into the green room, grabs me, and he's like, "Are you the MC?" And I was hesitant. I'm like, "Shit, man, the show hasn't even fucking started yet, and I've already got someone ready to rag on me." So I was like, yeah, that's me. And he said, he grabbed my hand, and then he pulled me in close. And then I felt in his hand that he had money in his hand, and he was handing me money in like, those like mob ways, like, "Hey, here's this, get me in, or let me cut the line, or whatever, like it was like it was unnecessarily sneaky, I guess is what I'm saying. And then he pulls me in close and then informs me that it's his son's 18th birthday and that he brought his son to the show. And if I can give him a shout out at some point in the night, that would be great. Which is fine. I do that anyway when I MC. The club makes you do it. I don't necessarily like doing it, but it's got to be done. So I was going to say, oh, I do it anyway, sir. Here, don't worry about the money. But if there's anything I've learned in my life, is when a big muscular man hands you money, you just take it. You just take it. You smile, you say thank you, and as long as you're not breaking the law, you do whatever that motherfucker says. That's what I say. He could be a father fucker. I don't know. Hey, Wolverine, buddy, I know I should probably record in a room where my cats aren't, but I don't like locking them up in a small space. And I live in a small one-bedroom apartment. Anyway, he's running around like crazy. He just ate dinner, and he's, sharing his thoughts to the world, I guess. Okay, hang on a second, guys. I got to pause this. All right, I'm back. Hopefully he's cool. He's cool as jets. He gets excited, this cat. He's very vocal. I have 2 cats, a male cat and a female cat, brother and sister. And the lady cat, she barely says anything, but Wolverine, he's like, meow, 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 all the fucking time. He likes to talk. He likes to have conversations. But anyway, I don't entirely remember what I was talking about. I think I was talking about the shows this weekend that I did. Yeah, they were good. They were all good shows. Guess that's all I really have to say about them. No one really heckled. I had some chatty people in the late show on Saturday night, but that's kind of par for the course. I shut them up pretty good, and then we just kind of moved on. Yeah. Oh, I was talking about the big lub guy who gave me money. So I took the money, I gave his kid a shout out, tried to make some funny story. He seemed to really like it. The guy thanked me again after the show, so it was all groovy. It was all fine and dandy and all that kind of stuff. And I got more shows coming up. So I did 2 shows Saturday. I did a show last night. Oh, so I did the show last night, and then I left right away after my set because I had to work early this morning. And I was like, oh, I'll just skateboard home, smoked a little joint. And like the route to get home for me, it's like there's a bike path, and but they don't put any fucking lights on the bike path, which doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Anyway, there's this bike path that cuts through this park, goes along the Rideau Canal, this waterway that we have here in Ottawa. And so I'm like, yeah, I'll just fly up this. My apartment is like further up on the waterway. So I'm flying down this fucking path late at night, and I got my cell phone out as like a little bit of a light to try and light the ground in front of me so I don't like hit some sticks or something and fall on my face. And as I'm flying down this fucking thing, I get to this one point, and like I didn't see it or hear it. Well, one, I was listening to music, so I didn't really hear anything. But I didn't see it because I wasn't shining my light ahead of me. I was shining my light kind of down at the ground. But as I was passing this one series of benches that's there's these 2 people just fucking. They were just going at it. Like no shame, no fear, no nothing. It wasn't the people you want to see fucking at night. Again, I didn't see everything because it was really dark. But, they were shapely. And it was a weird thing to skateboard across. Like there's areas in that park, in that area, that you can go and fornicate. You could probably not be seen by anyone. You could have a good time. They were on a bench that was on the side of the fucking bike path. And like skateboarding down, I passed other people on bikes and people jogging that presumably passed these people fucking as well. And they were just doing it. So kudos to those folks. I hope they wore a rubber. So I don't know if those are the type of people you want to, reproduce. But regardless, I'm happy for them. I'm happy that they were being loved. I hope it was all consensual. Again, I had my headphones on. I couldn't hear much. It seemed like they were having a good time. So I had that. I've been skateboarding a lot more lately. Like I used to skateboard a lot. Like I grew up skateboarding. I think I started when I was like 6 or 7, something like that. And then for the past, 5 to 10 years, I've been on like a steady decline from where I stopped going to parks, I stopped going to street spots, and I was mostly using the skateboard for, getting from point A to point B sort of thing. And then it got to a point where like last year, I don't think I rode my skateboard at all, maybe once. And it was affecting me. Like I didn't realize it was affecting me until this summer but it was definitely affecting me. Like I've noticed over the past year, I've had like an increase in anxiety and less of a motivation to do certain things. And anyway, this summer came around and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm getting back into skateboarding. I'm going to fucking balls deep. I need to do something active that I enjoy. I've been trying to exercise and get in shape and, trying to join the league sport with all the things that I'm already doing. I can't do that. And exercise, like, going to the gym, it's not really my cup of tea. So, I have some weights and stuff here at my apartment and I'll do some exercising here, but it's not, necessarily fun. And I know exercising is not supposed to be fun, but there are things you can do to stay in shape or add to that sort of regimen to keep yourself active that can be fun. And for me, it's skateboarding. And so I bought a new skateboard. I got some new wheels, and I've just been fucking tearing it up. My first night out or day out with the new wheels, though, I had a bale of all bales because I got these. So normally skateboard wheels are like one solid piece of urethane. And like the littlest rock, the littlest twig, stick, crack on the road, anything can, if you're not paying attention, can send you flat on your face. It's happened many times in my life. And, what I've realized is, being 34, I don't hit the concrete as well as I used to. So slamming down my face when I'm just trying to cruise around is not necessarily something I want to do. And so I wanted to make sure I used my skateboard more for transportation from getting, like I said, point A to point B and all that. But I also want to get out to the skate park. So I got, my regular urethane wheels that I use at the park, but they're not efficient for me to get from point A to point B. Like skateboarding for me from my home to my work, which is about 8.4, 8.5 kilometers, something like that. I don't know what that is in miles for you American folks, but it's 8.4 kilometers. And it takes me about an hour 45 to walk. And I can skateboard it in like 45 minutes. It's fucking amazing. These wheels, so I bought these new wheels. They're called Bones Rough Riders. They're made by Bones, and the brand is Rough Riders. And so they have a solid urethane core, and then like a softer outer part, and so it's like two parts. But these wheels, they can like roll over fucking anything. Like just they give you a lot of confidence, but they can also give you like too much confidence. And so the first day I had these wheels, I was like ripping around the city. And I'm bombing hills. I'm like, before I get to the park and I start doing tricks again, I just need to regain my confidence, like on a skateboard. That's what anyone will tell you when you're learning how to skateboard is that you should go out there and just fucking rip it and get used to just cruising. Like, just get used to riding the skateboard. Don't worry about tricks. So I'm like, I want to get to the confidence level I had in my 20s, like my young 20s, on a skateboard, just ripping around. And so these wheels, they like stick to the fucking ground, man. Like you can't slide. So there's no power sliding to slow yourself down with these fucking wheels, which is where I came into problems on my first day out with them. But they stick. They roll over grass and dirt and rocks. And there's like this area that I live near and I skateboard by. There's like a path, and then the path goes off to one side, and then off to the other side, there's like this rocky embankment type thing. It's and you can just fucking cruise right down the rock. It's amazing. These wheels are fucking great. They don't last, like, I've been skateboarding on them since July, though, and one of the wheels has, like, a chunk that started falling out of it. Managed to be able to fix it with Gorilla Glue, and that seems to be holding, and I've been cruising around, and that's good. But anyway, so the first day, I'm on these wheels, and I get all this confidence. I'm like, yeah, these fucking things are great. They stick to the ground. I kind of figured out how to slow down and stop with them, because new wheels, and I also put in some new ABEX 6 bearings in there, and they're just fucking flying. Anyway, so I stop and I have a beer and I smoke half a joint, and then I'm like, I'm just gonna head home, and I'm walking home and I'm going up this hill, and I'm like, oh shit, this would be a really good hill to bomb and test out these wheels, because it's like concrete hill, and then it turns down into like a gravel path kind of thing. And I've watched videos of these wheels handling this kind of a transition, and I wanted to experience it for myself. So rather than like trying from like halfway on the hill, I'm like, no, fuck it. We're going up to the top and we're going to give this thing my all. And so I'm bombing, and I start to get like a little nervous, and I go to slow down like I would with my normal urethane wheels, where I would just kind of stick my back foot onto the wheel or underneath the skateboard and between the skateboard and the wheel and use it as like a brake, and it slows me down. Now, the thing I didn't realize with these new wheels is that they'll roll over just about anything. And the fucking wheel rolled right over my foot. I went face first to the ground. I cut my shit up all over the place. I had like huge gash in my arm and my leg and my hip. I still got a scar on my ankle from it. I just completely fucking yard sailed down this fucking thing in front of a bunch of girls and people hanging out. It was extremely embarrassing. But of course, like I fell hard and I popped right up and like started laughing and acting like, oh, it's fine. Everything's fine. And then like a cat, I just kind of like wandered off into the bushes, like away from everyone's sight and just kind of lied down. It was like, oh, fuck, I'm dying. And I haven't bailed since. So I got the one out of the way, knock on wood. I said that now. Tomorrow I'm going to go skateboarding on a fucking gate by a truck or something. But I haven't had like a fall like that since. So anyway, that was my first day out. New board, new wheels. We're getting back into skateboarding. And then since then, I've been cruising all over the place, doing as much skateboarding as I can. I didn't make it to the skate park as much as I wanted to this summer. I wanted to go out there and get back into basically the tricks that I used to be able to do is what I wanted to, be able to do by the end of the summer. And I still got them, but I don't have them as confidently as I used to. So I'll keep at it until the snow comes. But I think next year will be, I got my confidence back on the board. Let's get back to that park and start busting some tricks and having some fun, because it is a lot of fun and it's great exercise. Like on Thursday, I skateboarded 25.2 kilometers. The next day, my legs felt like a fucking marathon runner, but it was amazing. It's like medicinal for me. I was saying this yesterday. I skateboarded back home from the comedy club, and I got in and I felt great. My mind was clear. It's like meditation. It might be a form of meditation for me. It's like when you see skiers in their element, I'm like that when I'm cruising around on this skateboard. So yeah, I know I'm a 35-year-old guy who rides a skateboard. I should probably grow up, but you should probably go fuck yourself because it's fun. I enjoy it. And, I don't mean to get hostile with you, but the club owner last night was shitting on me for riding a fucking skateboard. I was like, listen, man, I still can. You can't do this shit. You don't have the fucking balance for this. Leave me the fuck alone. And I'm saving the environment my own little way. I don't drive a car. I ride a fucking skateboard. So yeah, there, deal with it. That's that's what's going on with me and my skateboarding. Anyway, I don't really have anything specific I wanted to talk about this week. Because I've been so busy, I haven't really been able to think about things or write any ideas down. So I know I want to plan on having like every Monday I'll do like a Fool in a Mic episode, and then we'll release an In the News on Thursdays. And then whenever I get these In Conversation with podcasts put together, then we'll be releasing those as they happen, but probably like no more than once a week. Yeah, anyway, so this one's kind of be all over the place. And that's okay. Sometimes they'll be all over the place. I did make a couple notes. Hockey season is starting. I don't know if you folks like hockey, but I do. I love, it's probably the only professional sport that I actually follow. Every now and again, I dip my toes into the UFC and I keep, an eye out for, interesting things that might be happening there. But in terms of like a professional sport I follow, well, I guess skateboarding as well. This year I started to get into watching the SLS and some of the X Games stuff, but mostly SLS because it's the qualifier for the Olympics. Skateboarding is going to be in the next Summer Olympics, and that's pretty exciting. I wish I stuck to it into a level where I could compete in that because besides skateboarding, bowling would be my only option to ever be an Olympian, and I don't think 5-pin bowling is ever going to be a sport at the Olympics. Yeah, I'm excited for hockey season to be starting, and I'm an Ottawa Senators fan, which that should be an oxymoron. I should not be excited because we're predicted to be the worst team in the fucking league again. But at least we got our first round draft pick. We got a lot of young, promising prospects. We got some new coaching staff. So let's just see. I'm going to be cautiously optimistic this year when it comes to the Ottawa Senators. I have no expectations, but they should be fun to watch. With hockey season, though, comes every year the NHL 20, which is a hockey video game that I've been buying religiously since 94. And I got the pre-order, right? So originally, I think I was talking about this in the last week, is that I was supposed to have like an easy September, do a lot of work on the Foolish Canuck stuff, create some content, and kind of, ease into September. And so NHL 20 was coming out, and I pre-ordered it in August, so I can get it early. Because if you pre-ordered it, you'd be able to start playing it on September 5th. I have yet to download the game. I own it. I have it. But I've yet to play it or look at it because I know me, and I'll start playing it, and then I'll be playing it for the next 10, 15 hours. But I've just been so busy, I haven't been able to dedicate, even an hour or two to playing this fucking game. And because I have to be getting up early every morning, I'm not doing it when I get in. So I've been putting it off, and I'm excited to play this fucking game. They've done a lot of changes. They've added coaches. They made some of the trade stuff in the franchise mode more exciting. So this is something I'm looking forward to. I don't know what you folks are into. So if you're into video games and you want me to talk more about video games, let me know. Send me a message on foolishcanuck.com or at foolishcanuck on Twitter. And I can direct some of the stuff I talk about to the people that are listening to this thing. So if you like something, or if you have an interest, or you want hear my thoughts on a topic, send me the message at Foolish Canuck on Twitter, or go to foolishcanuck.com, hit the contact page, send me a message. There's also all the links to all the social medias on there as well. I think we have a Facebook account, and we're on YouTube and all that kind of fun jazz. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think there's much else I have to talk about today. There are elections coming up. They might be announcing, Trudeau has till Sunday to announce, the next federal elections, which then take place in October or November, 6 weeks, whatever that would be. And cool. I'm not into it as much as I have been in the past for whatever reason this year. I might be politicked out with what's going on in the States, and they're already doing their elections, but it's not, their elections aren't until a year from now, and they're already campaigning, and they're trying to figure out, who's going to be the Democratic person, and is someone going to run against Trump on the Republican side, and I think they're unifying. Anyway, there's just too much shit, and the world's crazy, and everyone's just yelling at each other. There's no one's coming up here like, hey, I'm representing you. Everyone's like, oh, me and my party, and me and my party, and me and my party, we have these ideas. You shouldn't be running for a fucking party. You should be running for the country, right? Your objective shouldn't be the needs of your party or the people who identify with your party. Your objective should be what's in the best needs of all fucking citizens that you represent. This whole, it's, I think I'm more like this now because tribalism is just fucking everywhere and everyone has a team. And so in politics, it comes down to that. So if I were to be I'm probably going to end up voting for Trudeau because Scheer's a fucking idiot. I don't really know too much about Singh, and I kind of stopped supporting the NDP after Jack Layton passed. I think a lot of people did. And Elizabeth May, she means well, but she also has some pretty crazy moments. And I don't think she has a chance to be the leader of the country. So it comes down to really Scheer and Trudeau, and fuck. I guess I'll take the guy who has the safe space over the guy who uses the trigger words. I don't know. I'm not following it. I don't know as much as I should, as I normally do this time around, because I don't seem to care. I wish I did, but it's really hard to care when you live in a society that we live in now, where it's like I work fucking 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, plus I do comedy. I try to make money, but then it's still, what you make doing a job like mine, cooking food at a restaurant, versus, the cost of living in a city like Ottawa, which, wasn't very expensive up until recently. The discrepancy just isn't there. My rent goes up every year, but you don't get raises every year. And I have 2 years left to live in this apartment. And then, unless something happens in those 2 years, I won't be able to afford it. And I've been looking for new places, and there's currently nothing in this city that I can afford to rent. In my building now, to get, I live in a 1-bedroom, and I pay $950 something or whatever. To get to get a bachelor in my building now is $1,066. That's fucking crazy. I have a whole other room for $100 less, just because I've been living here for a while. But my rent goes up every year. And in a couple years, what I make it's not gonna balance out. So I've been trying to see and search for options. And even to get a house, there's no fucking houses for sale. And if you go to look to buy a house, they're like fucking $500,000 more. And it's fucking expensive. So I look with my lady friend and we're like, hey, maybe we'll find a place together. No, to find based on what we make and what we would, I guess maybe we need to lower our expectations. Like if we want to live, me, her, and her kid in a 1-bedroom apartment, we could probably make that happen, but it'd be a very shitty existence. And we'd probably end up breaking up because the hostility would just be like, when you live on top of people, it's easier to piss people off and step on people's toes. You need space to be able, like, I think that's the key to any good relationship is fucking space. Give each other space and you'll be happy. It's better to miss someone than get tired of someone, I always say. Anyway, I'm just bitching about my situation and trying to find fucking. So this is why this is why I'm not paying attention to politics, is because you're not really doing anything to help anybody, like not significantly. Like there needs to be some fundamental changes that happen in our society to make things feasible for people, and it's not happening. Like there's the discrepancy, like the wage and wealth gap discrepancy is going to get so unmanageable that it's frightening. I'm very frightened. Okay, maybe not very. I'm pretty frightened for the future in terms of if I have to stay working, a minimum wage-ish job. Like I make a little more than minimum wage, but not much, and it's difficult. It's very difficult to live. And then focus on things that you enjoy when you're not sure about buying, groceries and whatnot. So that's one of the reasons why we started this podcast. And I'm going to be doing some videos and some other stuff. So we need create options. That's what I'm doing here. I'm just creating options. And if you happen to like what I'm doing, whether you like this podcast or you like some of the video stuff that we end up doing, or you just happen to be a rich prince from the the Middle East or whatever, and you want to support us or support me, help me out, you can go to the website, foolishcanuck.com. At the bottom, there's a support link. Click on it, and there's some ways there you can support the podcast, help us build the audience. You can become a Patreon or patron on Patreon. See, I don't like it when they do words like that because then I get all fucked up. Anyway, you can also make a one-time donation or a monthly donation through PayPal. Every little bit helps, and the more support we get in here, the more we'll be able to create and have time to create because we won't have to worry about some of the other stuff that has to get done in life. What we need in this country is we need an Andrew Yang. I think so. During this election cycle, if there was an Andrew Yang running, I'd be voting for Andrew Yang. I drunkenly sent him a message the other night because I watched a bunch of his speeches, and I was inspired. I like his thoughts. If you don't know who Andrew Yang is, he's running for the Democratic to be the Democratic nominee for the president of the United States, and I think he's polling at like 4%. People, news outlets weren't even showing him up until recently in the field of all the other people. Like there's been like a media blackout on Andrew Yang, but he has this idea about universal basic income. He calls it a freedom dividend, but globally it's known as universal basic income. Basically what it is the government will give you $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year. Every citizen over 18, doesn't matter your income or wealth, and that money is supposed to help with your rent and food and your basic needs, if you will. And then it'll alleviate some of the pressure. As he likes to say, it'll be a lot easier for people to care more about politics and engage more with the community and society when they don't have that financial boot on their throat. And he has some great ideas. And a lot of people who criticize the UBI are saying how it's just socialism. We're just giving people a handout. They're not going to be motivated to do anything and yada yada. And Andrew Yang puts it in a really great perspective. And I've never thought about the UBI like this, but now that I heard him talk about it, I'm exploring this angle a lot more. And that's, no, I believe in capitalism. Capitalism can be a good thing, but I just don't believe in everyone starting at zero. Like everyone starts at $1,000, essentially, $1,000 a month or $12,000 a year, however you want to look at it. But everyone starts off at the same level. So when you turn 18, you're going to college or university or whatever the case, you have that $1,000. It's going to help with, tuition, books, supplies, rent, whatever you need. That money every month's going to be there, and gives you a leg up in, as you're going into adulthood. I really like that idea. And it's like, the other thing is like, oh, well, we pay taxes and you get some tax money back at the end of the year. And, not everyone should be entitled to this thing. And I like to, he made another good point, which I also like to agree with, is that, when you have a publicly traded company or corporation and they have a good year, they pay out a dividend to, their shareholders, and you get a few extra bucks. And, when the country's GDP is higher and doing well, and trade is doing well, and all that stuff is doing good, none of that trickles down to the people. Like, the people don't see that. The people in charge, the heads of the corporations, the CEOs, yeah, they see it. They get the big bonuses, but there's nothing comes to us, right? And we're the owners of our country, whether it be Canada or the United States, wherever you're a citizen of, you pay taxes, you're an owner of that country. If that country is doing prosperous, the citizens should get something as well, right? Like a little extra, hey, thanks for being a citizen. I had a thought recently that would take like the whole UBI thing a little bit further, where I would say everyone over 18 who votes qualifies, right? Every election cycle, we have this talk about, oh, voter turnout was shit. Oh, voter turnout was shit. Only 60%, no, less than 60% voted, yada, yada, yada. Well, why not incentivize? And they're like, whoa, you can't buy votes, right? Like, because that's kind of what you're buying votes. But no, you're not saying, $1,000 if you vote for me necessarily. I guess the person who would be implementing this, that's kind of what they would be saying. But it wouldn't matter. You can vote for whoever you want. There would be no obligation to say vote for a liberal or a conservative or a Republican or a Democrat or whatever, But I think you would essentially be doing, because automation is going to take away all these jobs, right? And that's one of the main reasons for a universal basic income, is to help offset the changing workforce and the changing economy and markets that we live in. And so why not make it so you want people to be more engaged in the politics and the decisions that are made in the country? And people are always like, oh, that's stupid, but then they don't vote, or they're not engaged. Well, if they have to vote, in order to get the UBI, if they have to vote, I guarantee you, not all, but more people, way more people will be engaged and more focused in on the issues, because, not everyone wants to get something for nothing. And this way, it's like they're a government employee. I don't know. It's just a thought. I've been thinking about it that, right now, $1,000 a month, who wouldn't want that, right? Like, who would that not benefit? I look at my mom's retiring soon, and she has like a partial pension. $1,000 a month, she wouldn't have to worry about anything. Same thing with my father, who's been retired for a few years now. If he had an extra $1,000 a month, he wouldn't have to, like, life wouldn't be stressful. He'd be able to enjoy the latter years of his life. He worked as a garbage man for over 30 years. I think he has the right to be able to fucking do that. And I think the same thing. I've been working almost full time since I was 12, 13 years old, 34 now. I don't have a pension. I don't have a retirement plan, because I've never made enough money to set stuff aside. I try, but then something happens and then you're depleted again, right? Or you're living in credit or overdraft. And I just think we need something in this country. I think we need something globally. It'd be a very interesting prospect to like figure out like a global UBI or something. I don't know how you would fucking do that, but like if every country chips in a few bucks, and there's 7 billion people on this planet, though I don't know if we can make that happen. But in Canada we have 30 million people. We're like California. We can totally make this happen. I think the cost of doing this in the United States for their 300 million is like 1.3 trillion. We totally got this. We can make this happen in this country and save a lot of people. There was a fucking pilot project in St. Catharines here in Ontario, but when fuckhead Ford got elected, he canceled it. So it's like, oh, it's a waste. Well, we don't know. It's an experiment. We're supposed to see if this is going to benefit society and our communities, and you're not going to allow this. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me. But yeah, anyway, I think that's all my thoughts for today. I can go on about this whole UBI stuff more and more, but I think I'll just keep repeating myself. This might be one of those topics that I should try to write like a little essay on or something like that, and then like come back to it more coherently. I just said way too many times. I apologize, folks. I'll do my best to not say And I think that's going to be my biggest challenge. See, I just did it. I did it while saying not. I got to stop saying and I said Anyway, I guess that's the sound I make when I'm thinking. So, there's that. I guess I get used to when I'm thinking just to shut my mouth and have a moment of silence. So if there's little moments of silence, that's where there should be an But yeah, guys, folks, ladies, gentlemen, okay. We live in a weird time right now because I'm like, I want everyone to be happy and live free and not be persecuted. But in the same regard, like some of this pronoun shit's getting kind of ridiculous. Like I don't know what to say. When I'm emceeing the other night, I go on stage, I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, and then, there might be someone in the audience that doesn't identify as either of those things. Maybe they identify as a fucking wood elf or something. I don't know. I don't necessarily want to offend someone. I don't care if I do necessarily. It's not my intention. And if you're offended, that's on you. We talked about this in the last podcast. So if I say guys or whatever, any of those kind of terms that, you people that might be listening to this may get offended by or a little oversensitive about, I apologize. This might not be the podcast for you. Because I will say shit from time to time that is completely inappropriate. And that's just what's going to happen. So that being said, episode 3, it's in the bag. We're done. We're going to move on. You can go to foolishcanuck.com. There's all the shows I got coming up. We got, I'm in Absolute tomorrow. I'm at Yuck Yucks on Wednesday. I'll be in Kingston, Ontario, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I'll be emceeing there. And then I'm back on the Sunday. And then I'll be at Absolute Comedy again, I believe that upcoming Wednesday, the 18th. Then I'll be at Absolute on the 22nd. I'm headlining. It's a mini headline. I think it's like a 15, 20 minute. I'm closing the show. We'll call it that. We won't call it a headline because it's not really a headline. I'm closing the show on the 23rd at Absolute Comedy. It's a Monday. And then I got some dates coming up in October, which I'll share with you, in a week or so. Visit the website, foolishcanuck.com, for all those show information, as well as the podcast stuff. Oh, hey, good news. I don't know where you're listening to this thing, but the podcast is available on TuneIn Radio. Should be available on iTunes and everywhere you get your podcasts soon enough. But for now, SoundCloud, iTunes, and we have YouTube. So what I've been doing is I've just been putting the audio version. There's only one version of this podcast, so I don't know why I said audio version. But I've been putting the podcast up on YouTube and just putting like a stagnant image. So, because some people I've been told listen to shit on YouTube. So if that's your thing, you can get it there too. However you listen to your podcasts, I'm trying to make it available everywhere I can. And again, if you want to support, go to that website, foolishcanuck.com. I'll try not to say it anymore in the podcast for this episode. I'm also on Facebook. You can find Foolish Canuck there. And you can find at Foolish Canuck on Twitter, Foolish Canuck on YouTube. And I think that's it, folks. I don't think I have any more fucking There's another fucking My buddy Jamie's like, Chris, during your closing announcements on one of those last podcasts you did, you said like 37 times. So I'm trying not to fucking say All right, that's it. We're done. We're out of here. I hope you guys have a great couple days. I should have the next In the News podcast out on Thursday. I hope you guys check that out. And have a great couple days. Much love. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.